On the agenda tonight, I'm joined by George Michael's backing vocalist Shirley Lewis, and we're going to be analysing their performance together on Father Figure. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So on Wednesday night, I had the pleasure of talking with Shirley about George Michael. We analysed his voice, analysed her voice as well. But just to get her insight on what it was like to work with George in the studio and live is amazing. And we did actually talk for over 2 hours in the end. So I'm going to attempt to make these videos as concise as possible. And I say videos because this is going to be part 1 and there's going to be a part 2. I don't know if there's going to be a part 3. I don't know how many parts there are going to be. So make sure that you are subscribed. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the notifications for the future releases of this video, but just any video on the channel and the live streams, all that kind of stuff. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the meat of the video and I'll see you guys at the end. So let's start with how you first met George and how it all came about.
Well, I met George. I can't actually remember the first time I met him, but it was either Live Aid when I was working with Spandau Ballet, or it was with Elton John, because I was working with him as well, like all around the same time. But I remember when we did a video called Wrap Her Up that George did with Elton, that's the time he said to me that he's going to be going out and doing his own thing and, you know, recording and, you know, would I like to do it? And I was like, I think the answer to that question is yeah. So I was super, super excited when he asked me to come and sing on his, obviously his first solo album, because I was the only female singer that he used, and you know, he obviously could use any singer in the world, so I was very proud to be part of that. And I remember that MTV was on at the time and they made a big thing about, you know, George Michael's first solo album, Faith, it's going to be huge, and they said and the only singer that he's used is Shirley Lewis, and I was like, oh, I heard my name, and I was like, oh my god, I was so excited. And then up popped a picture of Shirley Holliman and not me, and I was like, damn, nah, I thought I was going to be famous, and that was it.
Yeah, that's the opportunity gone, unfortunately. Oh. But no, so what I'll do is I'll let it play through with the instrumentation in there as well at the same levels. And, you know, if you want to mention anything at any point, just kind of wave your arms or something and I can stop the video and we can
put
jump.
My hand up.
Yeah, put your hand up. I'll say, yes, Shirley. So, yeah, you can point out whatever you want to at any point. Yeah, I mean, there's so much in this from an instrumental point of view as well, because it's one of those tracks that is kind of standalone in its sound, because there's
so good. I mean, it's just so good. You know, I just have to say I really enjoyed the one that you did on Different Corner, which was the show that the Parkinson show we did. I watched it and it was so nice to hear you talking about the background vocals and the lead vocal, but it was so cute because your face was so happy when you were listening to the BVs, and I was like, oh my god, someone does appreciate what we do.
Yeah, this is a thing that I do see in lots of other videos where I don't know if they're quite analysing it, but they don't quite get the appreciation of, you know, it's a team effort. I mean, that goes for the band as well. And you know, Phil Palmer, who I know who's been on the channel a couple of times, you know, playing the guitar in that same performance, but how, you know, everybody comes together, and it's great because you really do get the sense that, you know, George was totally involved, obviously, with everything, and that he's kind of, you know, steering the ship, but the level of ability that you've got just across the whole band and the backing vocalist, I mean, it's just something that was a perfect blend. And when you got that voice of George's up front, it's just, I mean, blend is the word. But yeah,
totally. And yeah, I had a really good sense of George's voice, what he wanted from me to kind of sound like him in a way. Sometimes I hear songs that he's singing and I'm not on the song, but I think, oh, is that me? Because he kind of taught me to sing like him, and he's really into you know, like the breathiness of notes, not just like, I think he did say this on that other when you were analysing the different corner one. But you can sing certain notes and they can come out really harsh. But George was very into just a whole like breathy sound. I used to joke that he only used to use me because I've got good breath.
Yeah, very good at breathing, but but that is something that we will jump into. We'll have a listen. I'll probably jump into this as well, rather than kind of listen to the whole thing in one, because people will be able to do that. There'll be a link in the description below, as always, with my videos, if you want to listen to it the whole way through without me interrupting it, but Shirley interrupting it as well. So let's have a listen.
That's all I wanted. Something special, something sacred in your eyes. For just one moment, to be bold and naked at your side. Sometimes I think that you never understand me. Maybe this time is forever. See, it can be. Whoa, that's all you wanted. Something special, someone sacred in your life. Just for one moment, to be warm and naked at my side. Sometimes I think that you never understand me, but something tells me together we'd be happy.
And I'm going to stop it there before we get into the chorus. I mean, there's so much in there that we can dive into. I mean, the first thing that I want to kind of mention is, that breathy sound that George has got. But when kind of listening to it, let it play again.
That's all I wanted.
He's got this approach of having, I mean, technically, it's actually really difficult. Obviously, he makes it just sound like George Michael, but he's got air in his sound with compression, which is kind of the opposite. So rather than having that kind of and just having a breathy sound, he's kind of got that kind of push, but then combines it with that's all I wanted.
Well, that's very good.
Thank you. But it's the combination, and that's what I love about this, is that he's got this thing that he's doing, which when you analyse it, you think compression holds back air, but he's compressing it and letting out air at the same time, and it gives it.
Is that something to do with the? Is it called a plate that you have when you're making it? Trying to get the sound for your voice when you're recording.
Oh yeah. So
plate.
Do you mean the reverb that's on the sound?
Yeah.
The plate reverb. Yeah. So that's something that's going to be added.
Because he was very quite specific about the amount that he liked. It was, you'd go up and down. It's like, no, a little less, a little more. But I guess that helped his sound. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He kind of he's got the push and the breath, which is just super hard to do.
It means that any voice that you're hearing in relation to that, i.e. yours, when that comes in the background, it can't be totally detached. You can't kind of come in with a full chest voice or have too much of a lighter sound. It's kind of matching his tone and the expression and the breathiness. And how did you achieve that blend?
I mean, I do have quite a breathy voice anyway, but just singing along with George, like the understand me's. I would be doing the higher notes, but the melody of that we'd sing together, and then so we'd do that first, and then I would get exactly his tone and the amount that he was pushing, and then I would just use that to do the higher notes. I'd just then have that in my ears, and then I would follow that. and then we would do another take, which was just really, really like breath in a way, that's quite hard to do because you've really got to mute the note and get and just the air. But George absolutely loved that, and I mean, I just managed to do it. But I think just when we were recording that, we were very like close. So the mic is here, and we're sort of either side of the mic, but very close together. So I mean, it was so incredible singing with him. Just really incredible, and you're just kind of really intently watching each other and watching where you're breathing, and that's how we kind of got that sound really, and it's the same kind of sound that we used on Freedom. So I don't know if you ever do that another time. We could come back and talk about that too. But I think that's the reason George did most of his own vocals for a lot of well, all the way through, even the later albums, even though he did use singers, he was a perfectionist, and I think he would almost sort of like rather do it himself than get someone to do it. But there's another singer called Jo Garland who worked with George on the older album, and she's got quite a very similar voice to mine, and I think that's what he liked. He just liked that very light, very breathy, not too, I don't want to say like too soulful, I haven't got a real soulful voice, but it just sits really nicely with George, and it's kind of have the perfect voice to work with George, and I guess that's why I ended up working with him for the 35 years. That was I was made to sing with George Michael. How about that?
But I mean, your vocal, when we listen to it, I mean, it's such a full sound, and I think you're harmonizing with yourself as well. So you got that kind of higher line in
the higher
there.
ones are just me, but the lower understand me is me and him together, and then the higher notes, then I'm doing those.
We'll jump back into it because I think, when we get into the chorus, it's a little bit more evident that George is singing the main line with you, as well as that standalone vocal that's kind of...
Exactly. And also you can hear that those vocals are way stronger. There's levels of strength all the way. I think I was singing my full voice like the whole time, even when I was doing the top notes.
Yeah, so it's that kind of dynamic change from verse to
softness,
chorus.
Yeah. I'm really excited when we get to the kind of middle eight bit, because that was I think the first thing we actually recorded.
Oh, okay, right. Well, what I'll do is I might just take down the backing a little bit so that we can hear the voices a little bit more clearly. But we will jump into the chorus. I need to take it back to the beginning, so I'm going to have to kind of guesstimate where we got to. We'll have a quick listen. We'll just jump into it from where it is here, and then maybe stop it after the chorus again.
Okay.
Something special, someone sacred in your life, just for one moment, to be warm and naked.
I just actually, this is the problem, stopping it all the time when you're listening to a great voice.
You can't help it because there's so many beautiful things that you want to say.
I know, I just want to play this a little bit again.
In your life, just for one moment.
That, just for one moment, ta, ta, ta.
Brilliant.
I mean, technically, it's not a note. It's not a melody. It's just an expression, but it sounds so cool.
Doesn't it?
But let's we'll jump back into it, and I will control myself, and we'll listen to the chorus, and then we'll jump in after that.
To be warm and naked at my side. Sometimes I think that you never understand me.
I can't help myself, but when he hits that, C4 as it is here, you can hear that understand me. He's now kind of getting into it a little bit more.
Exactly, just pushing it a little bit more as he's going in, because he knows he's coming up to the chorus. But how genius is that, though?
Yeah.
How he's building it to come into And when you get to that, I will be your father, that's when he's really in it.
Yeah.
Strong.
Let's get there.
Something tells me together we'd be happy. Oh, baby, I will be your father figure. Put your tiny hand in mine. I will be your preacher, teacher. Anything you had in mind. I will be your father figure. I have had enough of crying. I will be the one who loves you till the end of time.
It's so nice hearing that. Like, I mean, it's not completely isolated, but I mean, it's just so nice to hear like his voice and my voice there. That's
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could take the backing down even further if you wanted to.
It's lovely. It's just the and you can you totally can hear. I don't know if everyone can, but you can totally hear the notes that we're singing together.
It's great because it gives it such a full sound, but you still, George has still got his breathy vocal high in the mix over the top, but when you kind of mentally take that out of the way, you can hear in that backing that, yeah, this is all now, chest voice leaning into it, full bodied in the background. And that's what kind of works so well, because it's still keeping relevance to the verse by still having his airy sound in there high in the mix.
Yeah, because he's doing the, oh, baby.
Yeah.
He's still doing all of that. So it's just blending. Yeah.
Right. We will listen on. And how high or low do you want the backing?
I'd just love to hear it with just the vocals.
Just the vocals. Okay, right. Let's take it down. I might take it down.
I mean, this however you normally do it, but this is super exciting for me. I haven't heard it like this since we were in the studio, so this is amazing.
Excellent. Right, well, I'll play it through. I might have a mess around with it, but I'll keep the instrumentation as low as possible without kind of affecting the quality too much. But let's play it through. There might be bits of silence now that there's no...
Oh, yeah, okay.
instruments.
Okay. Well, whilst you're playing the verse, you probably need to have the...
Here we go again. It should be coming soon.
That's all I wanted, but sometimes love can be mistaken for a crime. That's all I wanted, just to see my baby's blue eyes shine. This time I think that my lover understands me. If we have faith in each other, then we can be strong, baby. I will be your father, baby. Put your tiny hand in mine. I will be your preacher, teacher. Anything you had to try. I will be your father, baby. I have had enough of crime. I will be the one who loves you till the end of time. If you are the desert, I'll be the sea. If you ever hunger for me, whatever you ask for, that's what I'll be. So when you remember the ones who have lied, who said that they cared but then laughed as you cried, beautiful darling, don't think of me because all I ever wanted.
Yes, Shirley.
Did you see how he did that? Because I ever wanted. He's in and out of the very softness into the more full voice. Just that, oh my God, listening to it like this is so lovely.
He's got that ability too. It's almost like an accelerator that he can just kind of touch on it, or then go from that, and you get that impression that there's so much in there, and he can just he can do that, but with air in it if he wants to.
I know, it's amazing. Oh, he's got the Ferrari of voices.
Definitely. George, I think, has had and has the most accurate voice that I've looked at in, I don't know, probably a couple of years of analysis videos so far on vocals. The way that when he locks in to just holding a straight note, kind of without the vibrato. I mean, again, vibrato, another thing that I could talk about for a very long time, because he has this combination of, just holding notes here, the D sharp 4 and the D4 here, you know, are so accurate when he's just holding notes, but then he still has that, he's got that ability to put in actually quite a wide vibrato.
It is a wide vibrato. But I've got that similar. It's quite slow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mine is kind of slow as well. But you know, working with him live. I mean, I've done so many live shows with him, and he's just perfect all the time. He's not one of those singers that you know, you see, you know, a singer and you go and see him the next night, and the lead vocals are sort of different. You know, or they're doing different ad libs. Or George never did that. It was always the same. But I mean, I think that's why he was so perfect. You know, he knew every note and he hit every note. I've never heard him do a bad note, to be honest, in all the time I've worked with him. So yeah, that's pretty genius in itself.
I'm just going to jump in here to say that this concludes part 1 of my joint analysis with Shirley. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure that you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so that you do get a notification for when part 2 is released. But have a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is where you are, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!